Well, okay. I am triggered. So, I'm going to calmly show you what a mental breakdown really feels like inside of your mind. And they used to have this ride down at Disneyland called the Tower of Terror. Pretty much just long enough for all of us millennials to get on it. It was like the funnest ride that they had, really, and it was super popular, and then they tore it down so that hopefully, millennials would be thrown back onto this ride during their fucking breakdowns. But I'm going to show you exactly what it feels like.
You were the passengers. When Stormy and I wanted to go, 5 people stepped in the door.
That was kind of the first couple of days of my 17-day mental decline. That was kind of round 1 when I realized that inside of my head there was actually shit going on. Then I went a little bit deeper.
That door is opening once again. This time, it's all right for you.
And I was very, very nervous because whenever I was going through something that looked pretty close to like this, it wasn't because I was sitting inside of a roller coaster. It felt like I was in something's fucking jaws. And I have proof, I have witnesses. I was very honest with my family. I was really in a bad way, and I went on MeWe because I was banned on Facebook because I was a Trump supporter and I was threatening Facebook jail. So I went on to MeWe and started talking to people on MeWe about how I was going through something that I was scared was something called COVID psychosis. And a bunch of patriots told me to kill myself. And that fucked me up so badly that I felt like I was taken into a totally different situation. And it kind of looked like a cross between stigmata and the seventh sign, seventh seal, sixth seal, something. And there was like a Roman soldier or somebody screaming at me and whipping me on the back. I literally felt like I had been whipped on my fucking back 3 times. And it hurt me very badly, and I was being questioned in my mind while this shit was happening, and it was so fucking terrifying that I reached, because it felt like there was blood dripping down my back, and I was sitting in a recliner chair, and I reached back and touched my back, and it was just covered in sweat, but I thought that I was actually fucking bleeding. And then it caused this.
You are about to discover what lies beyond our fifth dimension, beyond the deepest, darkest corner of the imagination, in the Tower of Terror. A warm welcome back to those of you who made it, and a friendly word of warning. Something you won't find in any guidebook. The next time you check into a deserted hotel in the dark side of Hollywood.
I just kind of let it keep playing for a second because it was a cool ride. Then I got bopped over to this. And I'm going to let it play for a few minutes. I think she starts talking. I think she says something around the 8-minute mark, but you know, every time I look around, all I do is find more reasons to validate my story and really explain my presence in fucking Pennsylvania.
Particularly to Lyran and Andromedan planetary stargates and radial encryptions, activating radial encryptions. We're currently bringing online some dormant pylon grid formations, which are releasing several Jehovian planetary encodements. So this is my map that I charted up for this video today. I am going to go through what each thing means and why it's on here. This 30-degree north horizontal ley line, and then also this dove pylon grid as well. So I'm going to go through all of that in more detail. The planetary Sophia energy is bringing forth 3 generating avian grids. So we have the dove, and then we also have the phoenix and the falcon, and these are all generating through the 30-degree northern horizontal ley line, which is a masculine ley line. This ley line particularly runs patriarchal currents. Okay, so also the falcon. So we have the falcon grid. The falcon generates to the phoenix, and the phoenix generates to the dove. The dove is located over North America. And these are considered the Jehovian grids. These are east to west flowing currents generated from global angular feminine ley lines. So you can almost think of the angular feminine ley lines as the subharmonics They are the true initiators to the actual Stargate functioning, kind of like the primary generator. So like I said, over North America, you can see here that I have the Dove Grid. Now, the Dove Grid does intersect with the planetary J seals all along the 70 west and 33-degree north latitudinal line and south latitudinal line. And this is my own original artwork here of this Dove Grid over North America. So let's be nice here. It's not the best, but oh well, you guys know what I was trying to make here. But this Dove Grid is actually in the Book of Knowledge in the Keys of Enoch. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nazama and Shizar for providing me with a better picture than the one I clearly drew over North America here. Now, this dove head is actually, it's over Texas, and then the wings go up to Maine, and then they also go up into Canada, partly into Canada. So it covers most of the North America. I also have 4 other locations charted here today, and that is going to be Abaddon, Iran. This is gate site 10. This is considered a Lyran Stargate activation. It is connected to the Phoenix Grid, and right now, currently, Jupiter is aligned to Vega. So planetarily, we would be bringing in those generating currents from Jupiter. Also, we have grid site 4, Giza, Egypt. Okay, grid site 4, Giza, Egypt. And this is a solar universal Stargate site. This is also an occult gate site. This is Regulus, Draco, and Anunnaki. It can be considered Jehovian Anunnaki, Pleiadian, Nibirian Anunnaki, and Draconian Anunnaki. This connects into the Falcon Grid, the Phoenix Grid, and the Dove Grid. Also, we have Stargate Site 9 in Tibet, okay? And Tibet, this is an Andromedan Stargate activation. This is important because this Stargate site pulls heavy currents from the Amenti sphere or the IM-10, which is simply the conscious awareness of the retraction to the DNA molecule, whether that's biological or planetarily, also retraction and conscious awareness of the genetic brain. And hyperdimensional portal structures opening within the major cosmic gateways. This particular Stargate system actually takes you into another universal galactic system, which is Andromeda. So this is a major crystalline upgrade here. This is probably carrying most of the Sophia currents that are generating along this ley line. It's like a receiver station of that Sophia energy. So it's just another portal structure. It's a major crystalline upgrade. It's also heightened plasma charge Stargate, so heightened plasma awareness there. Venus and Neptune are currently aligned to Andromeda. So I know, I believe it was the night of the 28th, you could look into the sky. You could very much probably still see Venus and Andromeda right now, actually, if you look in the sky. So Venus and Neptune currently are aligned to Andromeda. Mercury is heading into Pegasi. So Pegasi is representing the Horsemen. The Horsemen are the 4 horsemen in the 7 seals and Revelations, also in the 7 Jehovian seals. And the transition that the Sun and Mercury are going to be heading into Pegasi. So we're going to have a lot of Andromeda activations. Andromeda Pegasi, Andromeda, and Fomalhaut. Part of Pegasi is also in Andromeda. They share stars in these constellations. So I think Merak is the star that is within Pegasi, and then also Andromeda. So we're heavily receiving Andromeda Stargate activations at this time. Then I have Mount Olives. This is important because this is right next to Golgotha in Jerusalem, the physical planetary location of the crucifixion of Christ. So this is important because these locations do hold a charged plasma memory field in the land. And as these currents do send direct transmissions to the blocked seals on Earth. So it's like these Stargate sites are opening and generating more quantum energy, more planetary quantum. And it's an east to west current that is being sent to this part of the map, or part of the grid system of the planet, the crystalline grid. And they generate these currents into this intersection point. So you can see here, JCL 5 and the Bermuda sit slightly south of the intersection point of the longitudinal line that the J seals run on, intersecting the 30-degree north horizontal ley line. Okay, so that's important because this is where this energy is generating from. And there are actually two black phantom matrix wormholes that reside right beneath here as well. So this is a huge area for siphoning, I guess, Christed frequency into the phantom matrix. So these current activations are going to be releasing a lot of the strongholds that are on the Templars. It's going to be creating greater transparency of the crucifixion implants, particularly the Templar collectives that hold the J seals, because not all Templars hold the J seals. Okay, so it kind of depends what you resonate with, like on a genetic level, on a spiritual level. The J seal being the implants placed to hold the pins of the phantom grid, so to speak. Yeah, exactly. Like I really think of these as like pins that are just nailed into the cross, that hold down these other artificial systems, these other false systems, technically, that are feeding the phantom matrix. Okay, so as we come into this activation, because this is going to be an activation that is planetarily strong holding the grid sites up until April, up until the resurrection of Christ, up until the planetary second coming of Christ prevails. So this is going to be demolitioning a lot of these outdated grid structures that are holding these distortions. So more is going to be coming up, more is going to be becoming visible. You might be spiritually, as we planetarily receive these crucifixion implants, you might be receiving visions of the golden crown of thorns, the 5 wounds that the nails were inserted to fix Jesus to the cross, the beam of the cross on which he was crucified. You may be even receiving like whips on your back. I kept seeing the lashing of the whips. Also metaphysically to the 7 seals in Revelation. So you might just be having a calling to have a clearing or a release of these distortions. You might also be receiving transmissions of the second coming of Christ, Atlantis rising, return of the white dove, and awakening of the American starseed. And that this Jehovian dove grid is going to have a lot to do with the awakening of that American starseed. So it's highly affecting the planet's crystal grid system. And like I said,
so she put this video out. Pretty much exactly 1 year before I experienced getting lashed and whipped on my back. And that was kind of the point where I was like, okay, maybe now I'm like hallucinating, and I really, really need to go get mental health help. And I didn't tell them about that part because at a 51% level, it felt real. So I told them very minor shit. But then I watched, as of January 28th, 2021, the fucking nut houses were full of people, Scorpios especially. And there are a lot of dark Sagittariuses out there. Fingers crossed for you motherfuckers, but Scorpios need help up. Every mental patient really needs help up because we have been fucking attacked. Because we are, especially millennials, are so powerful. And this sucks. My family still could not give a fuck less about the things that I am saying, as if it's not a danger to be saying these things. And I want the fucking front lines of mental health cleaned up, because these loser millennials are the only motherfuckers who are going to be able to catch anybody else when they fall, when they realize that everything they've ever believed is a fucking lie. And then they have to deal with the guilt of watching their daughter, their niece, their sister, brother, anything, suffering like this. And they're right. Your God is a liar. And Jesus was murdered by the Catholics to brainwash you. And all of this is bullshit, huh? Yeah, we'll fucking see.